guys, it's Me Do Not Obey, and let's get back into another video. Now we're in chapter 14 of the Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Walls. You guys know I'll be reading some from the book and some from my notes due to copyright. So let's get into it. We met in the boat that we used in these last trips between the land of the giants and El Arca. And Butler told the group almost the same thing that we had been talking about in the return vehicle. But he put more force to his words, and his joy overflowed in every part of his face. He had even gotten something to toast with, and the whole group was at its most joyful since we arrived. Unfortunately, this joy was not penetrating my mind, and much less in my heart. I was still distantly trying to understand what would be the right move to change everything. I kept wondering if this was really possible, and if so, how many years of there within the walls would pass while I was totally involved in freeing my brothers in there. Butler tried to cheer me up. It was time to change history, and this didn't happen every day. So I hid my feelings temporarily and joined in the toast. There was no need to even ask about a possible return to our homelands. This was ruled out by absolute, but somehow in the toast, I closed my eyes, and with prayers towards the loved ones I feared I would never be able to see again. Can a prosperous place like this be enjoyed if not shared with loved ones? Butler knew inwardly. He went ahead to tell us that we would soon be visiting the known lands again, and that we could help as much more on this side than by entering there and becoming an easy custodial prey. They would never forgive such a betrayal of escaping from their nets, and on top of that, recovering a large part of history that was never told. And we, the group, did not care what they really thought either. But it was our duty to take care of ourselves and stay away for the time being and plan our next visit. Baby, let's get into these notes. All right, so Butler ends up bringing information to the man on how the lands worked, okay? He also gave them several books, a lot of books. Among the books that they were given, they had a lot of books on language that was spoken there in certain parts of the lands. Now, in Renaissance and other places, English was spoken to perfection. So the language books basically translated the archaic language to English or to whatever language is spoken depending on where they are, like I said. So Morris and the men got to work and got to studying. Y'all, this got me several years. It didn't say how many, it literally said several years. For Morris, Butler, and the men. They had learned so many things beyond the mind could probably ever imagine in this effed up realm, okay? Morris, a.k.a. William, stated that time passed slower in these lands compared to our lands, a.k.a. the known lands. That's what they call the known lands in this book. Morris had a hard time learning about time. Morris also stated that there was a huge library. A whole library just built for time, for learning about time, perception, and sense of passage of time. So this library was just built, every single book was only about time. And you wonder why they know how to control time. They know so much, and they never teach us, because if they did, the reset wouldn't work. So let's keep going. All right. Morris became the commander-in-chief of the ancestral lands. You got to think, they were there for years and years. Now, due to his background in battles in the U.S. Naval Force and the trust he earned from Fahil now, that's how he was able to get promoted to what he is. Now, they end up trying to carry out many possibilities, basically simulations, attacks on the known lands or our lands without affecting civilian life. How nice is that? Without affecting civilian life. How nice is that? But see, the missions never happened because the custodians moved around a lot. They never stayed in one place. Makes you think, I don't want to say that anyway. They used portals and they basically jumped back and forth through time, or whatever you want to call time. I would say rams and energy frequencies in different spots. And they would always leave a leader guardian. So there will always be somebody high in command, somebody just as skilled as them. Not what they did with the Greys, no offense. Well, I don't want to say no offense to the Greys. I don't really give a damn about the mean ones. So basically the Greys that were left that got the first reset, well, not the first reset, but the reset that we know about in this book, to where they end up winning. Well, not really winning. They did have to retrieve, but they didn't continue the battle. It's like after they retrieved, remember, the war kind of just, well, that was the past war. I'm getting it mixed up. I'm so sorry, y'all. The past war is where the giants and the humans and the other races came together. They fought the custodians because the custodians, remember, had to leave and go back, and they were chilling with the Anunnaki again because they had to trade some things because their environment was depleting because all the resources they were sucking dry off this live planet, right, on top of us. So, and then when Morris and all Butler and all them get there, remember the war, their war starts there, and they end up winning that because they held strong, stayed steady fast, and they didn't want none. So they're trying in this book, which it obviously didn't happen, or even if it did, we don't remember because we must have got reset before it did, to save us again. So let's get back into the book, and we're going to end chapter 14. The creation of money was also key for everything to work according to his master plan. Now, everything was given so that the humanity of the known lands would never know their true origin, nor the lands that were waiting for them behind those frozen curtains. When they say his master plan, I'm thinking, what I'm thinking they're trying to say is like from the custodians and then the elites and, the certain only families that everybody knows their names that run, the postal service and all black stuff, all that stuff. They're either them or a bloodline of them or the ones that was chosen from whatever time, and they just keep resetting it. But they're the same people. Not everybody is dying. We are, but they're not. I'm just saying. Anyway. All right, so can you imagine any possibility that the human with the little technology that existed could navigate between giant blocks of ice, find even a passage, and not even know if that passage would give him the possibility of crossing that dome? The possibilities were clearly reduced to 1 in a million, but we had succeeded and they were aware of it. So it would not be strange to think that they would use the human militia to guard their own brothers, most of them out of ignorance, duh, we know that, and others for royalties, and that's the sad part, sell out sons of bees. The bases in the Antarctic ring and the exclusion zones would not take long to arrive. As Butler predicted some time ago, it was known that other security measures would be taken because of the past war, and the defeat in Renaissance would bring consequences. End book. Now think about it. If they basically went before, the treaty, everybody has a treaty in Antarctica. A lot of people talk about it. I've always talked about it from the time I've opened up my channel and started opening my mouth about Antarctica. Y'all know I've always said, why is it that everybody won't fight over that piece of land, that big old brilliant piece of land, and they can agree and have all their bases there, all their flags there, but everywhere else is chaos. Because people were getting through the wall, and whatever happened on the other side of that wall, it made it double up and more security on this side. So we can't ever get back out that side. And those that are trying to come in are probably, I mean, it's just, you know, everybody's getting stopped. Like, it's like we're right here trying to touch each other. And they've got that glass, you know, like a cabin in the woods where they try to jump over that damn cliff to get away from that cabin that was releasing all those monsters. And it was like a screen. And old dude hit it, poor little thing. He just slid down like the bird. If y'all haven't seen that, y'all need to check that out. I'll try to put a clip in, but it just makes you think. And still to this day, 2026, we still have all these flags. All these bases are still here. Scientists still fly in and out at certain times. You know, David Wilcock spoke a lot of people talk about it. And it's still active to this day. Like I said, there's still people probably right now doing things, and they'll fly out and certain people fly in, but nobody's going to fight. Nobody's doing anything. And you can visit Antarctica, but they won't let you get close to the wall. And I've done some videos on that as well. Some people said they went as far as they could go and they got turned around, but they could hear water running down and other things like that. You're not going to fall off the edge. What's going to happen is it's probably like a big cliff where it looks like there is an edge, but it's just like probably a gap. But if you're in the water, you're just going to look up and it just looks like a big opening, right? But you're in a cave. Hello, somebody. So Alma Bird, he flew over the ice. He said he flew over mass land of ice. Then it opened up into a clearing where he flew down into the center of, and everybody want to say the center, it's not an egg. He just flew down, straightened out, and now he's on the other side. And when you fly down, you got to think, the ice walls are probably taller than any building that we ever have in our world or any mountain. Right? So if the ice walls are that tall, he's going to think that he's flying down into a hole when all he's really doing is just flying back down to the same land that he was on before. It's just looking like he's in a hole because the walls are that tall, y'all. It's not like a little wall. They're fucking massive. That's all I'm saying. That's why people are thinking it's in the center of the earth. I used to think that, but it's not. They're just flying out, going down the wall because it's a big wall, and then leveling back out. I had to get it out. Anyway, so hope you guys are enjoying the book. Chapter 15 is obviously next. Please, if you haven't, go get the book. Oh, and y'all, before I forget, I will be, after I finish this book, I will be saving up to get the next chapter now. The next chapter. And this chapter is about Morris's daughter. Yes, about Morris's daughter. Okay, it picks up. So yeah, so I'm gonna get them as I'm reading them, but I want to get the whole collection, but I'm not gonna just buy it all at one time. So the next book after we finish this, I'll let you guys know more about it, and it's gonna pick up the daughter, and I'll read it later. See you guys. Stay woke. Wake the hell up. Okay, please. Bye. Wake up.